So they had to make some changes from this prototype, because all this stuff is exposed and little kids could stick their fingers in there and get them pinched. Ouch! So they made this as a first shot. And I thought, well, you know, not optimal, but we've got to start somewhere, right? Okay. So I gave them some feedback, and we ended up with this, which was better, but still having some problems. So I got them to send me the prototype, and I took it apart and looked inside and said, no! And I thought, okay, I could just say, well, go ahead and make this one, guys. I mean, they can manufacture it, and it'll be okay. It'll still be kind of cool. But the problem is I'm a Jaimie, and Jaimies don't do that. They say, no, it's gotta be awesome. And I had this idea in my head that I hadn't brought up yet, because I knew it would take some time. And this idea would make an exoskeleton over the entire leg section. And that way all the joints would be kind of like this, like... Then I thought, alright, I'm gonna have to put this thing in the computer and make 3D files for everything, if this is ever gonna get made. So I crash coursed myself in AutoCAD, which I hadn't used for years, and made this. And I sent all the files to the guys at Wow Stuff, and they have a 3D printer, and they sent me all the pieces. Can't tell you how relieved I was that actually worked. So I sent all the computer files to some engineers, and they were having problems because they couldn't understand that every single piece in the entire thing was important and communicated and interacted with every other piece. And if you change one thing, you have to change everything else. And they didn't understand that the leg, the exoskeleton of the leg was not just a cosmetic thing. Those are actual working parts. Everything you see was a working part. So they had lots of problems and couldn't get things to work. So finally, I started saying some bad words, and I took over the entire operation myself. And that way I was just gonna work directly with the factory guys, and I was just gonna take it all the way from the beginning to the end, and that was it. And some people may have had toes stepped on and been angry with me at that point in time. And I was a little bit nervous taking all that responsibility on myself. But anyway, here's what we had next. It's not running super smoothly, and it's eating batteries like crazy. And I was like, okay, it looks like it's kind of limping and struggling a little bit like a severed body. But that's okay, it's a good start. We just have to figure out what the problem is and the guys at Wow Stuff, they bought me a 3D printer. I was very excited. So I used it to build a Spider Tank Mark 6, which was this, and I sent the guys a video of it with some extra weight on, showing that it could hold all the weight and work smoothly and everything. We were still having some difficulties figuring out how to get them to make one that works as smoothly. So I said, okay, wait, on this next prototype, just make the parts that the drawings ask for. Just copy the drawings exactly, make the exact parts, and put them together, and don't try to fix anything yet. Just keep it as it is, and I'll come over and check it out, and we can look at it together, figure out what adjustments need to happen, and then we can apply those adjustments to the computer drawings at the same time. Then we'll have a matching set of perfect drawings and perfect robot. Right? And then pretty soon we had this. Okay, check this out. This is the slower set of gears. Yes! Now, during this entire process, I wasn't quite so animated. There were days during this 6-month period, quite a few days, where I was more like this. Sleep. Must have sleep. But now, I am so excited. So excited. Then there were just a ton of details, like figuring out the exact right motor to get the speed we want and the maximum amount of life out of the thing. Because I know we could just pick whatever motor and say, it's good enough, but I really wanted to make it as good as possible. And then there's all kinds of details like that, figuring out the electronics and how to get things most efficient. And luckily, I had also an awesome product tester. And that pretty much brings us up to now, where I'm working on blasters and accessories to put on the thing, and also this week I've been working with the people making it to take advantage of some ideas where the robot will be super customizable. Like, you'll be able to make your own accessories. And, yeah, it's an awesome toy, but it'll also be a really awesome robot platform for people who want to make their own accessories and all kinds of stuff like that. And you won't need massive amounts of electronics knowledge either. I made sure that it would be really simple to attach things, and I'll show everyone how to do that. But also, if you are like a super electronics nerd, there's a special plug that you can attach things to and kind of take over the electronics board, and I'll get all into that later. But it's pretty sweet. It just leaves a lot of options for future expansion of parts, and also just customizing it yourself. Another super important point was that it had to have standard batteries. So it runs on AA's. None of these little button cells or custom fancy super expensive batteries that last a little while and you have to replace them and spend a fortune. No. It's got just plain old AA's. So you can go get some rechargeables or use the rechargeables you already have. And I sort of want to make a rechargeable pack in the future at some point. And also, I don't want these to be disposable kinds of robots. So when they come out, I'm going to take one and I'm going to walk it down the stairs, and it's going to break. And I'm going to show you how to fix it. And anyone who has a robot that hasn't been broken and fixed yet, it's not going to be as cool. It'll be like christening it, like turning it into your own robot once you've made repairs. Kind of like your car.